the Fireplace working now for, I don't know, 3 months, and it's been a lot of fun. Really like using it, but it's getting full. It's got a lot of ashes in it, and then there's no dump for the ashes. There's no ash pit below it. So I'm going to have to clean out the ashes. I'm going to try something I've never done before. I waited 4 days since the last fire to make sure that all the embers were out, and I stirred it to make sure that there wasn't anything burning down in the bottom. And I'm going to use the vacuum cleaner to suck the dust, the ashes out of the fireplace. We'll see how that works. I'm doing this on a day when Lydia's at work, so I'll have time enough to clean up a mess if I make one. This handle, it's an idea my son had. There wasn't any handle on the hose, and it's not like a regular old canister vacuum cleaner that the top of the hose was bent and you could grab a hold of it. This just had the hose connected to it. And this was the vacuum cleaner over the hose that I used over in the old shop over in Union City with a little vacuum cleaner. Vacuuming anything off the floor was really hard to do, but with this handle on it, it's really, really cool. And this was an old crutch. It ended up in the junk, piece of aluminum tubing, had the proper crook in the handle, so I just packing taped it onto the hose. Part of the reason I'm using this big vacuum cleaner is it has a bigger filter on it, and it also has a large capacity. So it will not fill up with all the junk that I have here in the fireplace. It has a better filter on it because I jury-rigged a HEPA filter. Well, it's not a HEPA filter, but it's a pleated filter onto it. These vacuums usually come with just a paper filter and a foam core. They work, but they still put a lot of dust in the air. This filter is not letting anything into the air. Now, just have to go outside and dump it, which is going to be a real riot. All the dust that I've managed to pick up is inside this box, and ashes are one of the finest dust particles in the world. They get down to sub-micron size. Here's where the voice of experience comes in. All the things that you vacuum up have to pass through the hose, and anything that didn't make it all the way is still in the hose. So don't just grab up the hose and drag it out of the house. You really need to let it stay in the hose and not drop onto the floor. It's a day of innovations. We're going to try something new because I've never emptied this one before. I just have a feeling that if I don't do it this way, it's going to blow all over crap. And I'm going to have a mess. So I have one of the cinch type bags. I'm going to see if I can get it to cinch onto there. Now there's a ridge around the thing, which is supposed to keep the top on. If I can get the strap down below the ridge, I might be able to use it to keep the bag on. That would be awesome. If at first you don't succeed, make sure you're outside so the mess doesn't get in the house. Sadie's decided that she likes this project because she gets to stay out longer. And she always thinks that outside is better than inside. One thing I have to do is make sure I keep track of her because she wanders off. Sadie! Oh, good girl. There you are. You know, I'm thinking better than using that thing, a bungee cord. Oh, Sadie decided that going in the house is cool. There you go. Good girl. Sometimes innovation is a good thing, other times it just gets you really dirty. And I have found that God has a sense of humor. He gives you inclinations for free will that makes you think that you can do almost anything if you try hard enough. And there are just some things that just don't work, no matter how hard you try. At this point, that would have been a bad thing. Letting the bag escape outside the fastener would cause a leak path. Last thing you want when you're dumping ashes out of a waste basket or vacuum cleaner or anything else is a leak path. Well, I have so much confidence in this method that I'm going to take it completely outside the garage. Hot nozzle. Leak pad. Success! Future endeavors will involve plugging that intake port. Filter works very well. There wasn't any dust on the inside of it. Blowing that way. But you notice I'm not standing like this when I'm tapping on the filter. I'm standing off to the side. Otherwise, the wind blowing over my shoulder creates a low pressure zone in front of me where the wind is trying to rush around and actually sucks away some of the air against my chest. That low pressure zone causes the dust to get sucked into that vacuum and up my nose and all over me. A guy named Bernoulli came up with those ideas. The Venturi effect. That's why it's an Italian name, Venturi. Final operation, pull the thrust off with the air compressor. Not absolutely necessary, but I have the equipment. And when that fine dust clogged into the filter, really reduces the efficiency of the vacuum cleaner. The idea behind having all these pleats is so that the vacuum cleaner is trying to pull it through a much larger area of paper. Now, before anybody says anything, don't use air to blow off your clothes. Any little particles that are in the air can be blown out of the nozzle at very high velocity and can pierce your skin. Also, just in general, don't aim a air nozzle at you because anything in it can get blown out of it and approach you at a high rate of speed, causing innumerable problems. Well, that worked really well. All the ashes are out of the fireplace and there's no dust in the house. Absolutely no mess at all. Just remember, you don't want to do this if there's been a fire in that fireplace in the last week. The ashes can hold an ember in them for a long, long time. You want to make sure that everything is dead cold. Now, if I wasn't able to do this today, I would have taken a pail and a shovel and just shoveled the ashes out into a metal pail, not plastic, into a metal pail, taken them out, spread them around in the backyard, and let them go out. Another suggestion, if you have a metal pail with a lid, that is much better. Really, you don't want to do this if the ashes are hot. You just want to let it sit and work with it. I only had to clean this out once in 3 months, and that's because we've had a lot of fires in there. Be real careful. Watch out for anything catching on fire. You really don't want to have the fireplace that you love become the thing that burns your house down. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any questions about today's video or any of the other videos in the series, just drop a note in the comments below. You know I read them all. Sadie the Wonder Dog is not happy that I'm running the vacuum cleaner. She wanted me to stop immediately upon starting. She's not too fond of cameras either, but I don't think she realizes that the camera's on because it doesn't have that green focusing light aimed at her. I'd give you a good big rubbing, but my hands are kind of dirty. You're a good girl. Yes, you're a good girl, Sadie.